What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Kat and Mark show. And this week we have Aubrey Black. She's an adult film star and content creator, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. I've been waiting anxiously for this.
I know, so have we. So we actually met at the Industry Awards, and we were co-hosting essentially there. So ever since then, I was like, "You're a lot of fun. We need to get you on the podcast." So I'm glad
absolutely.
you're here.
I'm so excited. And I mean, I've been talking to Katija for a little bit, and even before then, she's like, "What is that coming out of your mouth?" Even though I was typing, she's like, "Girl."
Always so unhinged.
So I guess my first question is, if we start from the beginning, how did you get into the adult industry? What's the story?
So I never, ever thought that I would be in the adult industry, to the point that I was invited to Sexpo years ago by a girl that was escorting, and she'd do some hosty stuff, and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then I was like, said to my friends, "Isn't that the thing where they have like sex stuff?" And so I don't know if I should go to that. I was so like, I was open but kind of prudy to that sort of stuff, and I was like, and then the same girl actually came over and visited at my house, because I was doing photo shoots of her and some others, because I was a photographer for like 20 years. And and then she asked if she could crash at my place for a few days, and that she was going to be escorting, which of course in Australia it's legal and stuff. So she like popping off over the road every few minutes, I was just like, damn, this girl's making bank. And I'm not being mean, but she wasn't even really, she was, a little bit plumpy.
Okay, so not like a extremely attractive supermodel woman.
Just not the hottest thing, but anyway,
okay.
I was like, what the fuck if she's doing this? Like,
oh my goodness.
It's so can I.
Like, anyway, so I ended up researching it for a few months, like a business thing, who are the best and what do they do, and what has to, and I had to really decide if I could do this, because I hadn't even had a one-night stand before. I was such a goody two-shoes, never cheated on anyone, and I decided to do it. And then it was kind of, no looking back after that, it was like printing paper, really. It was really fucking awesome.
Damn. So how was that very first experience though? Because you did photography for how many years?
Wow.
Jeez. Okay. So how many years ago did you get into this?
This year I started October 2012.
Okay, there you go. So what was the very first experience?
Weird.
Like
it was. See, once I put my head into something, I turn into, whether it's actress mode or my alter ego or whatever. I think, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it well. I'm not going to go half. I'm not going to, So I just went in and did it, and just sort of. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I just did it. But it was bizarre. And the problem is I've never forgotten that first experience as well. I can remember what I was wearing. Oh my God, I looked so budget. And
you always do on your first time.
What do you mean by budget? What did you look like?
Lingerie. And I was always into lingerie, but at the time I was like,
okay.
I was like, okay, I think this is what these girls wear. And I just, now looking back, I'm like, ew, that is so rank. I had no titties. I had all these things that was like, so I put myself at the really low end of the scale, like low price and everything. Because I was like, I can't be charging lots of money and stuff if like I've got tennis balls and a sock boobies and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but I did it. It was awesome. And I did actually discuss it with my family before I went into it with my children. And I had a partner at the time who was actually encouraging me to get into it, but I think it's because he had a wife and I didn't know.
Oh, ouch. Okay. So so you spoke to your family. Your partner, were you guys weren't in an open relationship at all at that point? Well, it sounds like he maybe was, but you didn't know about it.
But yeah. So
okay.
He's the one that sort of encouraged me to do it. And go ahead, do this. Oh, that's awesome. It's so hot and everything. And I just didn't realize what was really happening. But I never looked back. My family were awesome about it. I discussed with my daughter the reality of it. She didn't really overly love it, but she accepted that this was a choice we were making and it was going to benefit the family if it went in the direction that I'd hoped. And my son was only 10 at the
Mhm.
time, and I told him I was doing dates with lonely men. And he's like, "Oh, they want a hot babe."
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
That's a
And
good
then
way of explaining it.
All right.
yeah. And then one day he said to me, "Mum, can you tell me, why are you getting so many dates with men? Like, you're getting so many dates. What are the sort of photos you're putting up, and stuff to, you know?"
That's a smart kid, by the way. He's like, what? Wait, what's
Oh
going
yeah,
on
he's
here?
way too
Okay.
smart for my own good. Anyway, and I said no, and it's fine. The photos are good. Photos are good. Clearly, he researched it one day and discovered what was really happening, but he kept it quiet for a little bit, and then one day it just slipped out his mouth. I realised that he knew. So,
Well,
I didn't realize that you had kids
what?
when you
I'm curious.
started.
oh yeah,
Okay, all right. So they would have been very clued on, like early on.
yeah. My daughter, I think she was. It was. She was just under. She was almost 20.
So what made you decide? Because I think it's a big decision to tell your kid, like you told
Yeah.
them before you started, right? Were you not worried that maybe when you started, you're like, oh, fuck, this isn't for me. And now I've just like told my kids this? Was there not a part of you that thought, okay, I should maybe like try this out?
No,
first
because
and then
if
tell them?
they busted me out doing it and stuff, that would be being honest from the get go.
Mm.
And if it was a slight,
Yeah.
thing of details with my son, I mean, at 10, there's kind of enough, but not
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
But I like them to sort of know what we're getting ourselves in for. And as opposed to me just saying, I'm going to do this, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? Here's the pros and cons.
Mm.
Are we prepared to go ahead with
Okay.
this? And yeah.
Was
So
there
then,
any
smart
like backlash with because your son would have been like in school? So did
Yeah.
like the other parents, or like the teachers or anything? Like, did they find out?
Yeah, did his friends ever
no,
find out?
actually, I think the friends did, but not until a little bit later, not until high school, which is probably much worse. But no one ever really said anything to me or to him. I think probably they were too scared to say anything. Like to him, the people who have brought it up have learned very quickly not to say anything, and they love and respect him enough to go, yeah, we're going to shut our mouth because we don't want to see the wrath.
Okay, so your son's a bit of a badass. It sounds like the kids are a little bit scared of him.
He's
So it's
super sweet and cool. He's an amazing person, but there's just
Oh, really?
some things don't go down that, because one, you'll lose a really good mate, and two, you'll probably just the size of this coming into your face. So they just don't want to see because he's a giant.
Yeah, that's fair. And so you spoke to your family. You thought, okay, this is a decision we're gonna go with, and we're gonna try and make this work. And then you really loved the first experience. Where did it go from there?
It just continued back to back, wearing out worn out shoes. Sorry.
Oh, that's awesome. No, you're totally
printing
fine.
paper, and I didn't feel bad because I was, it was like I wasn't just being, I was very nice to people and they were really nice to me. I didn't have bad experiences, and as much as I still loved my photography and stuff, I was then able to, the lifestyle changed significantly, and I was able to provide a lot of security for the family, and they were like, forget that, yeah, let's keep going, Mum. What do we do next, guys? So the security and the lifestyle certainly changed a lot for us.
Okay, very nice. And because obviously you split up with your husband.
Married.
Oh, okay. All right. So, but you guys.
He was married and I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Damn. All right. So how long after getting into the industry did you find out about all this?
It was probably about, we'd already been together a couple of years, so it was another year in. Yeah, it was another.
Okay.
And I kind of just had to, it blew my brains out. And then I just went, you know what? I'm in this, and I'm just going to focus on the work and my family and everything like that. And that's what I did. And I mean, I've been going nonstop now for 13 years. Like on the road, some people are like, where do you live? And I'm like, in my suitcases.
Yeah, you do travel a lot, don't you?
I feel you.
Yeah.
So in all of that, so you're currently dating Jackson Wolf at the moment. How did that come about? Was he in the industry or did you meet him outside the industry?
He was just coming into the industry, and it would be really cool at some point to get him on as well so that you can get his side of
For sure.
but there was a person in the industry that we had as a mutual acquaintance. It was somebody that I didn't really have much to do with anymore, and they contacted me and said, "Hey, I really want you to meet this guy," because at this stage I was really pretty much just full time with adult film overseas, like in USA and some in Europe, but I was heavily into that and not doing any of the extra stuff that we do in Australia. And yeah, this person wanted me to meet him to see what I thought of him as somebody to go into that industry over there. And I was kind of like, okay, don't really want to talk to not Jax, but this other person, but I'll hear you out, you know. And I saw the photos of they had these photos of him up online, and it's nothing like his personality or anything. And I was like, oh, okay, this guy's kind of cute, but looks like a bit of a. It was like trying to make a young hot dude look like an older man drinking some whiskey or something scotch or something. And I was like, oh my god.
So he looks like very serious,
not the hottie that you see and know now, you know. And And anyways, I said, yes, I'll go meet him. So we met, and he was just sort of starting to dabble in the industry, which he can tell you that story one day if you guys get him on. And we just clicked straight away. And I definitely am not a relationship person, or wasn't. I had stayed single for quite a few years. I hadn't lived with a man in 20 years. And off the bat.
Wow.
Then I realized that the person that had introduced us was actually doing some pretty dodgy stuff in the background, you know, around Jax and whatnot. So I actually got Jax. I said, you need to come here to me.
What do you mean? Sorry to interrupt. What do you mean by dodgy stuff? As in, like, in terms of business and
a little bit of
sort of taking advantage?
You can delete this later if you want, but he's a bit of a fucking snake in the industry, right? I wanted to do with him anymore. And see this awesome person being pulled into that stuff, and I was like, oh no, this guy's nice, you know, and he's a good person, and I don't want to see that. So we went and had some lunch, and I had a discussion with him about it all, and he said, I've heard stuff like that, but yeah. Anyway, I then predicted that I was going to be leaving town, and was in the same hotel where him and this other guy was, and I contacted him at his other job and said, hey, look, I haven't left town. I'm actually in the same hotel. And I have a second key downstairs waiting for you at reception if you'd like to meet me and stay with me tonight. I have to leave tomorrow. I said I've put off my trip, but no one knows I'm here. I've even put online that I've arrived in Melbourne. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah. He's like, shut up. And so, he showed up that night. And then a few days later, I was like, I kind of miss you. Do you want to come catch up on the Gold Coast? And he's like, what? I was like, yeah. And he flew in. We were there 3 days, and then a COVID lockdown. So we'd only known each other probably 5 days, and the borders were about to close. I said, well, you can either go home, I don't know when I'll see you again, or you can stay. And he stayed, and we have had probably 14 days apart in 3.5 years.
That's so cute.
That is insane. Were you scared going into this? Because you said it's been a long time since you've been like living with a man, or it sounds like it's been somewhat serious. And then you went from like 5 days to living with him. Did it just feel right, or were you at the time like, what the fuck am I doing? Okay.
Pretty cute, and he was so funny and made me laugh harder than I'd ever laughed in years. And it was pretty cool. But there was definitely ups and downs over the months. Trying to navigate. Not knowing each other, all the COVID stresses, age differences, all these different things. But at the same time, we always just work through them really well together. And it's been really good. It's certainly been a learning, growing experience, but we still love it. We're still awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I think
what counts, right?
It's crazy.
We haven't killed each other, so that's awesome.
Yeah, sure. It must be great. No, I mean, seeing you guys together, you can see like you guys have a really good relationship. It's crazy to think like the way it started, because even for a lot of couples just going through the whole like COVID shit, lockdown, like especially in certain industries when it's like harder when it comes to work and things like that, it's just tough anyway. But it's like if you've just met someone and you're trying to navigate the relationship and all of that, I think it either is going to like completely fuck it over, or you're going to like develop a really strong relationship from it. And it sounds like you guys developed a really strong relationship.
I think we just worked with it, nice. You know, from day to day, and we kept things interesting because like what we ended up doing was we had been traveling a little bit. When COVID started, we're like, okay, let's go to whatever city we can that's open at a time. And we couldn't fly, so we just jumped in my truck and would drive. And really did knuckle down, and we were stuck in Queensland. The North Queensland was still open for most of COVID. You know, there weren't the restrictions that they had. So we actually put a big caravan on the back of the truck, and we stayed on the road for 4 months. And we just filmed content together. So it was awesome because, I mean, otherwise, honestly, and it was definitely not anything like, oh, fuck yeah, I've got this dude here I can do this with. But if being stuck in Australia, if we weren't together, we both would have been out of work. I wouldn't have had anyone to film with. I would have been sitting there soloing night and day, boring. And that would have been that. So we both saw it as not only we clicked and got on really well, but it was a good opportunity to continue to work and make money as well as have adventure along the way during a really unpredictable time. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very lucky.
And how do you find navigating a relationship being in the industry? Obviously, both of you are, right? But do you find that difficult when you need to film with someone else or when he's filming with someone else? Or are you guys like completely understanding and cool with it? Like, how do you navigate that experience?
I mean, there's definitely challenges being in, I think any performer, especially, you know, from overseas would say, you know, it's not easy being in a relationship unless you're somebody who's just down for, you know, your partner's smashing whoever and doing whatever, like totally open. And I mean, I'm actually a monogamous person. So it's actually, if anything, it's more of a mental thing for me. When I have to go and film with other people, I'm kind of like, can I just film with him? Like, can you just put him, please? Because there is, as much as I have to then switch off if I can't and go, okay, this is working. We go over everything together. I will, in the back of my mind, be like, I'm sorry, you know.
So it is monogamous outside of work.
Yes, absolutely. Like we're both just like so committed to the relationship and to each other and making sure that those boundaries are set, because otherwise that's where it would get really messy, you know.
And so you mentioned feeling like maybe like somewhat guilty or something if you're filming with someone else. Do you ever feel jealous if he has to film with someone else, or do you find the challenge just being around like
straight up, I'm like, who? What? But no. I'm being real. Some people are like, I can't be in the industry. It's like, well, just because that's my natural personality and we just have to work through time.
Yeah.
We have cool coming up this weekend, actually, because we haven't filmed in Australia yet. And so we're doing stuff with people. And you guys obviously know Christine McQueen. Well, everyone knows us as sisters, or have done for years and years and years. And, you know, we had a few years apart. We were doing our own thing, and we've come back together stronger than ever, which is freaking amazing. And she was trying to organise some content stuff. I said, can we that's she's Jax. And she's like, but it's your, like, how? I'm like, just do it. I'm like, and how that it's going to be like sisters smashing my man, you know, that's fucking hot. So yeah, we're shooting this weekend coming up. It's going to be the first time her and I have actually filmed content together, and it's going to be the three of us just getting a whole bunch of stuff done. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah. And I would anything like that. You know, there's some people I'm just like, I fucking trust you. I love you. Let's share and have fun.
Yeah. That sounds like a hot scene.
I think that's it's a hot scene, right? I think it's a mature way to look at it, to be honest. Because I'm sure there are people out there that are just born that way, where they're not jealous or whatsoever. But I think that's incredibly rare. And I think most people, it's just about dealing with that emotion, right? And just working through it and being open about it. And I think that's normally in every relationship, right? Whether it's you're a monogamous relationship outside the sex industry and your partner's chatting to someone at work, or if you're in the sex industry and they're like filming a scene with someone else. I think you face it anywhere. And I think like, it's just about working through it. So,
exactly. But we have a lot of fun with it, you know. Especially, yeah, like I was saying, with people that I know and I trust and everything like that. Because the big thing is in the industry that what you'll find is that, especially when you've got, like, I've developed a really good name for myself and a really good brand and everything like that, is you will get a lot of people that just sort of want to fuck your man just for the sake of, haha, I fucked Aubrey Black's man. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, who is this person? And I'm
Okay.
like, oh yeah, they're cool, or yeah, yep, they're not going to just be trying to
Yeah.
do something to pull something out from under me and whatnot. So, and I know that sounds silly, but if you ask any of the big performers out there, they'll say, yeah, the girls are the worst for that. They're just like,
Yeah, it's very true.
Damn, okay.
It
So
might
they're
not
doing
work.
it for the clout.
Yeah, lots of people do lots of things in this industry for the clout.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, I stole Aubrey Black's man, and it's like,
Yeah.
didn't.
No, you
So,
didn't.
I'm
Oh,
curious,
so interesting.
what does a typical day or a typical week look like for you? Like, you do so many things. What would be like an average week?
Oh shit, it depends on what country I'm in. Everything changes according to where I am at the time. So here in Australia, it's a lot less busy than what I am when I'm over in USA, and then Europe's completely different again. So here, aside from trying to juggle family commitments and still trying to, as far as time for a relationship goes, we typically just do all our work together and then sit there and have sleep time watching TV series, and we're like, good night. It's like, that's what we get these days. But whether we're shooting content, editing, doing administration, meeting with other content creators, occasional private meetups, different things like that, it's kind of every day is jam-packed. I do not have enough hours in the day, and I'm supposed to be training, and I'm like, I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. and have to be just to fit the rest of my day in, yet when we're over in the States and whatnot, filming, like when you're filming a normal scene, you'll typically have, most days it might be 4 or 5 days in the week that you'll be filming. And so, you're prepping all night for things, up early in the morning. You'll be on set or getting ready to go on set from like 8. Then you'll be on set from 10 till maybe 4 or 5 in the evening, get back, want to die for a while. And then you've got to still do your admin. Yeah, exactly. Do your admin, try and have a few minutes to decompress, and then you're rolling into the next day. You know what I mean? So it is really full on. And then, of course, you have people who schedule events for you and things on top of it. So it might then be like, okay, I've just finished shooting this, I've just done that, and now I have to go off and fulfill my duty here for this event, hosting something or, showcasing somebody's business and whatnot. So it's really full on.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how demanding
Yeah,
the job actually is.
And then, of course, you've got the OnlyFans, it's like 24
and you do all the Instagram and everything.
Yeah. And it's like, that's why, this week my Instagram looks like I fell off the planet. I'm like, oh, screw you, algorithm. Yeah, you already took 8,000 followers off me in like 3 weeks. I'm like, so, just from you guys know, you post one little thing that's not even bad, and it's like, we're going to freeze.
Shadow ban. I know all too much about the shadow bans.
Do anything? Did I say a bad word or something? Oh my God, So this last week, I spent my whole week just focusing on family, and I was like, I'll deal with you, algorithm, later.
Yeah. I'm curious, how do you, like, with everything that you've got going on, how do you like find a balance between, personal time and like work time and like self-care and all that?
Oh, there's no balance.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a Libra. I'm a Gemini. Yeah. But I mean, in saying that, it's like, I guess the whole Gemini thing, I'm like, yeah, I'm able to multitask and juggle things. I'm quite good at that. But also, I'm really lucky that because, with Jax, we've really learned how to work as a team to get stuff done. So it's like, if it was just me doing it by myself these days, it would be a lot more complicated, because there's just so many things that I'm working on and doing. But when you work as a team, it's like, okay, you do this and I'll do that, and we'll get this here done. And then we are able to at least get a bit of time together. And yeah, so there's there used to be teams that you could get to run all your socials and whatnot, but sometimes I've found that can be a bit risky as well. You put a lot into taking on people to help run your socials and your accounts, and if all they're really looking at is the dollar, then you might not necessarily get what you're really paying for. And so sometimes, and I don't like to micromanage, if I think I'm paying somebody to help social media or whatever, I'd rather say, hey, these are the ideas of what I have, do my part, and then you do yours.
I was going to say, so you're running everything yourself essentially then? Like all your social media or anything like that?
So
okay.
Aubrey Black,
no
I'm like,
I
wish it wasn't. I wish it was a robot. Like,
you have a bit more time.
AI, thank God. I'm terrified. Yeah.
Yeah, legit.
I'm curious, how do you so like obviously there's Aubrey Black that everyone sees, and then there's the Aubrey that people kind of don't see. How do you like differentiate between like the different personas? Are you just like Aubrey kind of all the time, or is there like the Aubrey that people don't see behind the scenes?
That's all I can. No, okay, so there is a part of me that has to go. I'll have to send you later this little a little video thing that sums it up perfectly. You might have seen it. I think there was one with Keanu Reeves when it's like, okay, me at a party, yeah, you're walking through the door, close the door. Oh my God. Okay. Hey guys, and you go back. And it's not that you're being fake, it's just that you you just take a few minutes for yourself. But the other side of my personality is so different to like what you see on the screen or what I'm able to even put on social media, because people are so sensitive now that I have to like really sit there and go, oh my God, what am I supposed to write for a little, thing for my picture today? Oh, I guess I'll have to be boring and write something like, picture 1 or 2. Do you like this? It's like, oh my God. But yeah, I've had to really tone down my personality because we come from here and we say what we think. And so many people around the world are so freaking soft that it's like, well, I didn't even know that was offensive. I thought I was just saying, like what everyone's thinking. Sorry. But also the whole overtly sexual side that people see, I'm very, very different to that. I'm like a total potato and a family person and an absolute goofball. And that's really the real side of my personality is more that I love my training. I love being an idiot. I love out. Just wearing trackies around the house, all my active wear. And then I have to put it on when I have to get all glammied up.
Yeah, I think it's just having like different sides of your personality, right? Like I think everyone's like that. Everyone's going to be a little bit different when they're around their families or their friends or at work or whatever. And it's just like your work requires a different type of personality to come out that you have. So I think it's normal, but it's interesting to see because I think if people see you online, they would have that idea of you. And then, you're sitting at home watching like TV with your partner and just like hanging out. And I guess it's hard for people to like relate to that. And so, it's part of it is like we're all human, right? Like we all have that side to us as well.
Yeah, I do get asked that question. But like sometimes my clients like, do you do like normal people activities? Like go to get groceries? Yeah, like do you get groceries and like drive and stuff? And I'm like, yes, I do normal people things too.
That's so funny. It's weird how they think that, right? It's like, or the fact that they think that this job is so easy, and when you discuss with them, I've got the admin to do, I've got this to do, I've got all the things that are behind the scenes. They're like, I had no idea it was like that. And it's like, it's a business like any other business, and you'd expect other actors and performers to be so busy and doing these other things. Why is it different for us? It's not a matter of, hey, let's put on our panties and go for it.
Well, was that a surprise to you as well when you first got into it? Because it was to me. Like I was surprised about all the like behind the scenes work and all the admin that goes into everything. Like when you first started getting into this, were you also surprised with? Because obviously you're very successful, right? So were you surprised about all the business stuff that you need to do on the back end, or did you go into it kind of?
I actually have always, because I've been heavily involved in business for years anyway. I probably went off it, putting the business element at an extreme level of planning, structures and policies and procedures and plans and everything from the
Fuck
But I
yeah.
know a lot of people don't see it like that. They think they're just going to be able to go, okay, we'll take some messages and we're going to go do this and we're going to do that and that'll be that. But for me, I've always been really big on planning and structures and having my protocols and stuff in place. And then, of course, because I'm heading towards goals and targets, so it's almost like I have my own little KPIs and, all that sort of thing.
That's awesome. I'd love to know what the KPI titles are. But that's awesome. So how do you think the industry has changed from, because you started, when did you say 2000 and, when did you first, 2012. So how do you think it's developed and changed from 2012 till now?
I mean, there's so much that's changed. It's mostly because of, COVID and whatnot, that changed in terms of people changing direction, realizing that, shooting for the big companies is still valuable in terms of keeping you current and having the brand and the name of saying, hey, yeah, I'm still an adult star. But where the money's at and everything is in doing your own stuff, doing your own content creation, having your own platforms, and that's where it's at. But now everyone's doing it and starting to pull away from the big companies or not doing as much. So it's become extremely saturated, and it's being able to really navigate between, like, for me, sometimes it can be a little scary territory when it's like, okay, I've always worked with these people who are in the industry in USA or whatever. And then you come back here and everyone's filming and everyone says, oh yeah, I'm an adult star. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're a content creator and I absolutely respect that and everything. But it's like, okay, so me working with you, I'm just like, but there's so many people that don't know the usual protocols and procedures again, and the all the things that you need to do, what I'm used to overseas. So I'm challenged in my mind to have to try and adapt to the different ways that things go. So I'm not saying that it's wrong, because obviously it's right for the people who are doing it and they're making money, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. If they're happy and they're making money and all that, that's cool. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so many things going now and so many people, and everyone's just like, ugh. So I just have to put my head around that the differences in the different countries and whatnot.
If you were to give advice to someone that's starting out, do you think they should aspire and focus to film with those big names, or to just solely focus on content creation because that's where the money's at? Or does it sound like you think it's like a bit of a balance, like get your name out there through like the big names and then make your money from like
exactly. I say, get your be sure of what your brand is, be sure of who you are. So like, try and be as authentic as possible without trying to find your niche and whatnot. And then definitely film with the big names and whatnot. But one of the big things I find is too many people are then focusing on filming with the big names, but then just go, I'm in, and then just fuck it off and then think, oh, I'm here and I've done this and I've done that. But you've really got to have gratitude and respect for the people that do help you, because if people with big names do shoot with you, that's a really big foot up, and that's some serious leverage if you're then just going to go off and not continue down that route and then just shoot your own content. But that is the way to be found, to be recognized, for people all over the world to find you, is because they're going to see these other performers, and that's how you're going to be seen. And then from there, grow it. But just got to keep your head in check and not get too, and then it will continue to grow and everyone will want to continue to work with you. So, yeah. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Do you think a lot of these new creators then, because they obviously haven't like gone through the same process that you have, like, do you think they have a lack of maybe gratitude or understanding of what it means to shoot with someone that is more popular, has like a name for themselves already, and they kind of, what's the word for it? Like, underestimate that a little bit?
I mean, I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but a lot of people are. And I think if they haven't had to try and get into the industry and have to try and build what a lot of us have built, they don't know what it takes to actually achieve, that title of being, a adult star of that level. So it's like they come in and they're like, I'm a star, and it's like, okay, you film and you do this, and I absolutely think that's awesome, and you're great, you're an awesome performer, but it's like you got to do the hard yards. I've done some fucking yards to get there, and so it's like for us to then put ourselves there and say, yeah, you know what, I'll take you in and I'll work with you. It's like we're really putting ourselves out there to bring them in, to give them, more exposure. So I think it's a matter of just humbling yourself a little bit and being like, okay, cool, I've got this opportunity. I'm going to be grateful for it, and just not get too big-headed about it all. You just got to try and keep yourself level, no matter how big you become. I mean, even now, I'm still so grateful. I know all of the big stars and everything, and when I get to work with them, even if I've worked with them before, I'm like, I'm still so grateful that I get to do that I haven't been bumped off like so many people have been. So many people are like 15 minutes of fame and they're gone, and it's usually because of attitude.
Yeah.
So
what would you say would be the biggest challenges in the industry, like at the moment? Like, I know everyone's saying, there's a lot of girls commenting about how much it's changed, especially with after COVID and especially with how saturated it is. What would you say would be like the biggest challenge in the industry at the moment?
Being able to find people that are really genuine and trustworthy, you know what I mean? And saying, I'm not, for me, it's a matter of, it's really scary. People get really greedy and they get really silly really fast. And especially with the way things have gone with OnlyFans, after COVID, everyone's sort of in that hustle and grind thing, trying to, get their name out there and stuff. And that's awesome. I think it's amazing. But it's like, the most important thing is about finding a really good group of people, because, they say you're like the people that you're surrounded by, and as opposed to just utilizing those people for a short period and then just, move on to the next, find yourself a really good group and feed off each other and whatnot. And I don't find a lot of that here. It's hard. There's cliquey groups, and I'm not saying be cliquey, but to actually do not just be about yourself, but about nurturing other people's careers as well as your own. And I do find that hard these days, whereas I've got a group, some really cool people over in the States, and all of us are just like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah. And if they beat me at something, like, fuck yeah, I'm coming for you next,
I think that's probably the key, right? Like, if you see this career is very long-term and think, okay, I want to work with as many people as I can. I'm going to be super grateful for those that like have a bigger name than me and bring me up, and I'll try to repay whoever I can with it. But I think some of the issue is, if you come into this and you're young and you're getting money, like, it's very easy to see this as a very short-term play where it's like, all right, this next piece of film that I'm going to create, or this like next opportunity that I get, like, you just focus on that and you want to take that, and you're not like seeing past and where your career is actually going. So there's a lot of, I'm somewhat outside of this space, but it just seems like there's so much missed potential for people to just like work with each other and just be chill, and everyone would be successful, as opposed to you just trying to like one up that next person below you, and then everyone just goes to shit. So it's it sounds like they've got it right in the States, maybe.
But I mean, you guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So you.
Yeah, look, a lot of people in the industry, they don't like, a lot of people talk about how our industry is still quite shunned compared to other industries, like by society. And I think a lot of people in the industry don't realize that if we all can't like get along and understand each other and help each other, how do we expect society to understand us if we don't understand each other?
Shameful fights that I see on Twitter, I'm just like, oh, please stop.
Please. Twitter it's savage.
So toxic, and I'm just like, you're showing this to the world right now. This it's like airing out your undies. It's like, don't do it. It's like,
yeah. I'm curious, how do you handle like criticism and negative comments from, well, whoever, other girls, society, trolls on Twitter? Yeah,
randoms on Twitter. Yeah, like,
oh man. And that's where I've got to control my feistiness. I'm like, don't say anything, Aubrey. Don't say it. But actually, it's gonna sound a bit strange, but I was really bullied when I was younger. So don't worry, we're not getting deep and emotional. But I was really, really bullied.
Sorry, we can get out the tissues. Let's
anyway.
Go for it.
I was, and right through from when I was little, and even as an adult, it's actually some of the bullying just doesn't stop. Some people just have a personality that just says, "Hey, I just want to punch you in the face," and I think that I might be one of those. But because I went through so much, I was teased about my nose, which now people want a nose like mine. I was teased about my freckles. I was teased about my, the socioeconomic group that I came from, the fact that I was half Māori, half European, all that sort of stuff. It was just everything. And it actually was a blessing in disguise, and is, because it means that people can say what the fuck ever they like to me. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, I've heard worse, but hey, that's cool. Yeah, sweet. Especially at the moment, a lot of it is, oh man, you're old. Oh, you're looking so old. Oh, you got fat. And I'm just like, yeah, well, we're aging. It's called life, and I don't expect to look the same as I did like 10 years ago. And for me, it's just like, I just laugh at it, really. The only time that I really get bothered by people being harsh or critical is actually when they criticize my people around me. Like if people get nasty about the fact that I'm in a relationship, so sometimes I'll try and target things at Jax, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not putting up with that. That's when I become really defensive. But with myself, I just shrug it off. But that's just from something I've had to develop from years of being.
Yeah, I guess getting put in the spotlight, it's you have an opportunity to have more practice, I guess, dealing with people's negativity. And I guess it goes two ways, right? Like one, it either like crushes you and you just like don't know how to deal with it, or over time, like you learn like coping strategies, which one, it sounds like you just laugh it off and you're like, who cares, right? So yeah, it's nice to hear, because I think anyone like getting into this space, it's something they're going to have to face at some point, right? Like they're going to get some negativity. I think it's important just to remember that, like, a lot of the time it's just coming from fucking idiots. So yeah, as you said, it
to me, what was I going to say? With the online stuff and whatnot, I think before I even got into the industry and I knew I was putting pictures up or videos up and stuff, it's like you have to realize when you decide to go down the route of being in the public eye that you are going to be criticized and judged, especially with the way the world is now. Everyone's either so sensitive or so hateful and mean, and you'll have the people that absolutely love you. So the thing is just to focus on that positive stuff, because some people like apples and some people like bananas, and if I'm an apple and you like bananas, then hey, that's that. You can't really change that. But it's about your reaction to it. I mean, I've certainly been known over the years to fire up every now and then, but people usually laugh at that because they're like, oh, he's yours. You just totally destroyed them. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Society, I think, are very quick to judge. I mean, a lot of sex workers, doesn't matter what part of the industry you're in, like everyone knows you get a lot of trolls. But what do you think are like the empowering aspects of like being in the industry? Like I personally find it, as a woman, I find my job very empowering, but I think society doesn't look at it that way. But like, what do you find empowering about what it is that you do as a woman, especially as an older woman?
I mean, there's so much about it that actually helps you as a woman, whether it's you choose to be, you can be completely independent and by yourself, or you can be, still run a family, look after your family and everything like that. But to me, it's like, I am a strong businesswoman, and part of my package is I am my product. So I have to work on that. So being able to look at myself and know that my brand and my product is a success and stuff, I mean, that's a confidence builder in itself, to show where you've come from to where you are. I mean, as long as you're, running your business well and whatnot, that in itself is not only a driving thing for myself and for my family, but also for other women out there who think, oh, but I don't look like this, I don't do this. It's like, do you know what we've all had to do to actually achieve this? We have to look at ourselves as a brand and a product, and we tweak things accordingly. So I love letting other women know, it looks like, you do realize I'm just like you. We're just the same. And if you wanted to do this and being confident in your own body, your own skin, knowing that you can go out there and if you want to, you can make bank, you can look after your family, you can have financial security, you can have those things. Or you can just have peace within yourself, knowing that, you can do it by yourself. You don't have to have somebody else out there to save you. You're not one of those rescues, And I mean, I just think so much about it that I love and appreciate. I know that I wouldn't have done half the thing or achieved half the things that I did had I not taken that step, back in October 2012.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, I don't think so I had another job. I was like you, I had another job before I started doing sex work. But like, I didn't find like financial independence until I kind of started doing sex work, because it was my own business and I was working for myself, and I got to have every single penny basically, like that I worked for. So, and it was like the more I worked, the more money I was getting. Whereas in my old job, it didn't matter how much more I worked, I was still getting paid like shit.
Exactly. I mean, I was doing okay, and there's been some years that even with my other work, I was doing well, but never like this. I mean, people always like, "Oh my gosh, you get to." I'm like, I have been able to not only provide well for my family, to be able to survive through COVID and whatnot. You know, being able to look after my family and whatnot through that time because they all couldn't work as well. But I've travelled the world extensively, all while working at the same time. I've seen things that, you know, so many people could only dream of, but I mean, they all have the ability to do that as well. But I'm showing, if I'm this little half-caste girl from New Zealand who come from a family of 10, you know, and I can do these things, it's like it is possible for anyone to do it. You just have to be able to, you know, broaden your mind a little bit.
Very nice. Yeah, it's very impressive. It is very impressive. So what are your plans for the future then? Have you got anything installed? Obviously, it sounds like you got a lot of travel, but are there anything in terms of your career that you're like looking forward to do? Or
there's so much coming up
on?
over the next few years, but especially over the next year. Some of it's a bit secret, squirrel, and you guys work. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But once that all comes about, you know, I'll make sure you guys are the first podcast to
yeah, give us the
Perfect.
exclusive.
Yeah, you'll have to
please.
let us know what's happening.
Exclusives.
That's it.
But I mean, for me right now, I mean, I spent the last 2 years away from Australia, and I was going to just go back overseas and just keep hammering it out. But I feel like the draw for me right now to spend a bit more time back here at home, not only for my family and stuff, but I can see so much potential and need in the industry over here. And there's a few of us that would love to come together to help the industry here on a similar level to what they had, the support and things that they have overseas, be it through, you know, groups coming together and education, you know, towards how to actually do all the filming, networking, how to grow and develop their businesses. I mean, it's a pretty awesome place here, and there's so many awesome content creators. And I just think if they could have the same information that those of us who have had the opportunity to go shoot overseas had, what they could do, you know. So that's a big thing for me, is to set up another home base here in Australia. I'll still be traveling overseas periodically, but I really want to hone in here on redeveloping relationships here and a nice little, you know, a nice little base.
That's awesome. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where that goes. You can bring all your procedures and business mind and everything to
the industry here does need a lot of help, I think.
the new generation. So no, I respect that.
Spoiler alert, Aubrey and I have a few exciting little projects coming up as well over the next 12 months.
Hello.
Can't talk about it yet, but doing some cool stuff.
All right. Now,
Mark,
now
you already
I'm curious. Now, I'm fucking around. I'm going to amp it up a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
Right,
we
days.
definitely have some good shit coming, so I'm so excited.
Kat, did you have any? Do you have anything else you wanted to ask?
Oh, actually, wait. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Oh man, you guys would never stop me talking if I really let loose.
Does say whatever you want, go as wild as you want, man.
Like that.
We're cool with it. All right, perfect. So, Aubrey, where can people find you? What's the best way for them to find your stuff or get in contact with you?
The blue tick, and from
hello.
And in there, I mean, there's a link with absolutely everything in there for all of my legit platforms. And if it's not on that thing, it's not me.
Perfect. All right, well, we'll put a link up for everyone to see, and then they can go there. So, Aubrey, thank you so much for coming on. It's been
I will see you guys very soon.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
See you very soon.
All right, guys. Everyone.
All right, cheers.
Make sure you all like and subscribe. And I know we never say this at the end, but yeah, everybody make sure you like and subscribe and give Aubrey a follow. And yeah, all right, until next week.
Hey, bye guys.
Thank you.